Welcome to MOGULTalk, where wealth and lifestyle converge. We are mindset media dealing with business, social relevance, abundance, lifestyle, and spirituality. This is your time. This is your moment. And this is your host, Ms. Mogul, Charity Smith.
Hello, America, and literally around the world. This is Charity Smith. I am Miss Mogul. It is absolutely my delight to host you on today. As you all know, we're in our ThankFULL series, and I wanted to have this conversation today. And listen, as I shared with my guests before the start of the show, I have been looking forward to this conversation all day. Many of you know that we kind of turn towards November as the time that we're supposed to be really focusing on what it means to be thankful. I personally believe, though, this is a lifestyle and it can even be a skill set. And so I wanted to have this conversation about how do we curate the mindset, the lifestyle, the skill of thankfulness. So I invited this spectacular leader to come in and have this conversation. I want to tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Colleen Gallagher. Pardon me for that. She is an intuitive business and personal development consultant. She has survived childhood cancer, already a champion, right? She is a global citizen and advocate for everyone to have the opportunity to live their dreams, and is currently pursuing her PhD in psychology with a focus in global leadership. And you all know that's my passion, and change. She is the author of many books, but her latest one is the release called An Uncompromised Life. I love that title. She is also the host of the Colleen Gallagher podcast, but her greatest success is seeing her clients fall in love with life after overcoming trauma and life challenges to create a lifestyle career that impacts the world. So without further ado, welcome into the studio today, Colleen. What a blessing and a treasure to host you today.
Oh my gosh, well, I'm super grateful to be here, and thank you for such a wonderful introduction. It's an honor to share time with you.
Likewise, time and space. I wanted to have this conversation again because while I said in the intro, so many folks around the world, specific parts of the world, let me say it that way, specific parts of the world are looking at November as a time to think about thankfulness. And they're thinking about family and traditions and how in the world we're going to balance all of that in the current world and in the current ecosystem we're living in. But I want to think specifically about business leaders, because I don't think the conversation comes up when we talk to high performance leaders about thankfulness. So many times this theme is left outside of the dialogue because it's all about the bottom line. Make sure it gets done. It's the logistics. It's the stakeholders. It's the this and the that and the other. And we think little to not, I would say, about gratitude and thankfulness. Now, the reason I wanted to have this conversation with you is because as a mental health expert and coach, I think it's really important that we dig now into the psychology of thankfulness. Before we really start talking about it, though, what exactly is mental health? Right? Because I think a lot of times we as leaders don't really have a working understanding of what real mental health is.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people from what I know, they kind of hear of mental health, right? And what they say is they go, oh, that's for people who have ADHD or who are depressed or who have anxiety or schizophrenia. Like they label all these things kind of as mental health in this way. And what I wanted to share is mental health is really your state of being. And what I mean by that is it's what are you like when things aren't going as planned? What do you like when you're going to be 20 minutes late to your $1 million meeting? What is it like when you know that maybe you have class and you don't want to be there, or you don't really get along with someone and you move through conflict? Like that is actually the truth of mental health, of how are you mentally agile in situations that make you uncomfortable. And it's important to note that because I just think so many people are like, oh, if I don't have anxiety or depression or whatever, like I don't have any issues. And it's funny because it's just so far from what the truth is of what mental health really means.
And I think it's important too that we really do have a clear and a clean working understanding of what mental health is, because I would venture that many of us many people, I would say, are operating in an unhealthy space, right?
Mhm.
Because you think about what happens when you're 20 minutes late to the $1 million meeting. What is that self-talk that then begins to happen while you're on your way to that meeting? That really is kind of the working definition of what mental health is. Is that dialogue in your head healthy, positive, reaffirming, or are you going through this whole litany of accusations and you're being toxic towards yourself and you're self-sabotaging before you get to the meeting, and then you try to flip the script and act like you just didn't have that conversation in your head and try to be all positive in the conversation. And so it really is understanding what it really means to be healthy here. What does it mean to be healthy in your mind space?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you said it really well. And I think the other thing, and one thing that I share, is like turning mental health into mental wealth. Like, your subconscious mind controls 80% of your automated habits. And if you think about that, 80% of your automated habits, and what I mean by that is like, when do you brush your teeth? You don't think about putting toothpaste on or this. So when you're driving, you're in a daydreaming, you don't think about where you're turning. You just do, and you're like, oh shoot, I showed up the wrong place because you were on autopilot. And that mental health, like a lot of times when we have a meeting, or we have we're nervous to call the client, or we're nervous for an invoice, or we don't want to look at our taxes, or someone's looking at their credit card debt, whatever that it is, that behavior, whatever you're automatically doing, is so suppressed at many times and so avoided, you don't even know how unwell we could be. And so I always say the best way to begin looking at this is to look if you have body pain. Any body pain that you have anywhere in the body is signaling to you that there's something wrong with the mental issue. Because if you're working, which we more are from the wellness and holistic standpoint, the mind, body, soul healing model, that the body is signaling to you something is not well. This could be from a headache, from tripping, from cutting yourself, like just a
shoulder pain.
Yep, back pain. So it's just one of those things to begin looking, like when your body isn't well, you are mentally unwell. And when you even feel your emotions, like I just got so angry, I don't remember what I said. That's because you were actually taken over, you could say, by an emotion or by an energy that wasn't you, and you allowed yourself to become unwell. And so, true mental health is emotional intelligence, which is really being able to control your emotions and being a master of them instead of them controlling you.
That is so good. That is so good. Listen, I want to really kind of dive in a little bit deeper in there, because I want to talk specifically to high performance leaders, those folks who are used to, turning it over quickly and responsible for just these vast organizations and vast responsibilities. When you look at where we have been within the last year and a half in the current business environment, where we've had to pivot everything to accommodate COVID and shutdowns, and now going into virtual spaces, and we're lacking the touch of human, even if it's in business, you're just kind of used to being face to face with people. And now we're having to rethink what intimacy is, what connection really is, what it means to truly communicate, right? And convey a message without the benefit of touch or being in close proximity. And so when you already have a high performance person who's probably tense and has just kind of learned to ignore that tension, but now put on top of that the last year and a half, what in your mind should a high performance leader be doing right now? What does mental health look like for someone who's accustomed to tension, but they really do kind of want to adapt a more healthy mental well-being?
Yeah, so I think one, right, what you said, which is really important before I get into like a practical one, is the first thing before I say anything is like, you have to be a high performance leader, no matter where you are, that's willing to learn something different. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, this could be doctors. We just went through that. This could be large organizations. This could be entrepreneurs. This can be just yourself. Like, you should always want to be open to new ideas, to new ways of being. And that's, the first step I ever wrote in my first book is like, become open. And so there has to be that willingness. But two, I think what you shared, and I think it's really important, is that from that, what is absolutely required is you have to have at least 20 minutes of silence a day, like 20 minutes of just you. And it could be in your car driving, just no music or whatever, but you intentionally have to have 20 minutes a day where it's just you and your thoughts, you and your talk through, you and whatever's happening. Like there has to be that space created for you to pause, because otherwise there's never going to be a stopping of one habit and a making of a new habit. So I think that's always the most important. The next thing that I think is really important that works for, everyone across the board is using your calendar on your phone and putting 4 daily reminders just for like a minute. So I have one at 8 a.m., noon, 3, and 8 p.m. And I have my affirmations right now, but there's different things, I've changed them throughout my time. But if your shoulders are tense, like having a mantra, like I now feel relaxed. I now feel my shoulders releasing tension, or I now like to be fully present. I now like to be a compassionate leader. I now like people to look up, like whatever it is, but have these things in your phone or have a breathing exercise that's on there. So you stop whatever you're doing and you take the time to either do it in your head or say it out loud 4 times a day, or you could start with 1 time a day. But that's the other part that I think I've seen, with my clients and organizations get a lot of results when doing this.
And it's so important to go back before we take this first commercial break. I love what you said about be open to learning something new. Most high performance people, well, a lot of high performance people are accustomed to that, but I think we stop becoming high performance when we stop learning. That means learning about ourselves as well, right? And so I love what you said about stopping and pausing and speaking the words. I am a high performance person, but I love the idea of being able to stop and say the words. And at first it feels uncomfortable where you say, I now call myself into being present. I call it, it's life breath for me, where I speak life to what's going on. So if I don't want chaos, then I have to tell my environment, no chaos. I need shalom. I need peace. I need order. Now come be order. Right? Whatever that is. And again, initially, it may feel strange, but I love the idea of saying the words, because once you say the words, your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect now comes into agreement and awareness of what you just said. Right? And I hope I don't want to sound kooky out there, but this is real.
No, this is neuroscience. This is breakthrough neuroscience that's happened, and neurofeedback. Our neuroscience. They've had it where basically we have mirror neurons. So basically, everything that we see or perceive in the reality mirror is a neuron that's merely reflecting to us. So it's inside of our body. So if we choose to see something, like our body is going to react to it. If we choose something else, our body's going to react to it. And so the other thing you said is that when you're sharing these things or when you're stating these, you always want to state it in the present tense. You don't want to say it in the future tense, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between there and now. So it's always going to stay out in the future. So whatever it is, when you have your affirmations, it's like, I am, this is, like, it's always in the present, even if you're not there yet. Obviously, I'm not saying lie in a meeting or something like this, but in your own mind, like get yourself in that vibe for that. But that's really important. But it is, neuroscience of what you just shared.
Who knew? The mental health expert knew. But I love too that's then validation of what we know, right? That our world is not just 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. We live in a multi-dimensional world. And what we say, even though I have this affirmation that I say to myself, what I say, I see. And what I see, I say. It sounds elementary. But going back to what you just talked about, the neuroscience of it, but the manifestation of it is what I call it, the manifestation of it. What I see, meaning in my vision space, in my mental, spiritual, emotional, intellectual space, what I see, even though it's not here in this 2-3-dimensional world, I say it. Because eventually what I say with eyes wide open, I'll see. That's good. That's good. We're going to take this very quick commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk to you more about the skill of being thankful and how it impacts our daily lives. So hold on just a minute. We'll be right back. Welcome to Mogul, the place where business, lifestyle, and possibilities collide. Hello, my name is Charity Smith. I'm Miss Mogul. I'm a business leader, global speaker, trusted economic development strategist, media personality, author, advocate, and lioness mom. We're taking you next door and around the world, conversing with business leaders about the news of the day, emerging business trends, and introducing your family to possibilities that will help you live life to its fullest. Listen, we're really excited about our special interest stories where we connect you with authentic faith, spirituality, and abundant thinking. Tune in right here, streaming live on this platform or on a mobile device near you. And listen, don't forget to subscribe to this show and discover the Mogul in you. We're excited to connect with you, and we'll see you streaming live right here. And we are back. Before we went to break, Colleen, we were talking about the neuroscience of manifestation. Isn't that a good way to kind of encapsulate it all?
Yes.
The neuroscience of manifestation and the reality of it. It's not just hocus pocus, right? It's not just looking at stone. It's not that. There is a reality to our mental health and the manifestation of our mental health, what we see, what we say, what we manifest, what we declare. There's a reality to that. Before we went to break, we had that conversation. Now that we're back, I want to ask you, let's go a little bit deeper. What are some practices? What are some tangible, practical, and you talked a little bit about it before the break where you said you have your mantras that you rehearse 4 times a day. But go a little bit deeper with us. What are some practical exercises we can do to not only stay mentally healthy, but to continue to infuse gratitude and positivity into our daily lives?
Yeah. So I think one thing that this is when you catch yourself and you're at a really emotionally high state or you feel really stressed out. Dr. Peter Levon, who's a trauma specialist, and just so everyone knows, trauma, it just means that you have an emotional disturbance. It's not like we've all had emotional disturbances in the last year or 2 years.
That's humanity. Right.
Yeah,
That's just humanity.
So one thing to do when you feel like you're out of control or you feel really alone in your emotion or you just feel really like isolated, it's called VOO, V-O-O. So basically what you do is you feel in a high state, you calm yourself and you just go, breathe in. VOO. And you keep doing this. And basically it's interacting with your nervous system to calm your nervous system down. And that frequency of the VOO has a vibration that spins inside of you that for whatever reason through science calms it. So that's one really good way. Or if you have a team member that's really out of control or there's something going on, that's a great thing to share with your team members of like, hey, go to the bathroom. I know you're nervous or that was a bad, whatever, offer that. I think that's one thing that's working really good. Another one that I like to do, and this can be in organizations and in your personal life, just depends, but I like having gratitude huddles. So at the end of each of my weeks, or if you have like a weekly meeting or whatever that it is, have everyone say one thing that they're grateful for and someone that week. And I think it works really well because it actively gets people thinking, wow, that was really awesome. Let me write that down, and gets people thinking of like to be acknowledged for that. And then I also have a personal policy of every night before I go to bed, I text one person and just share what I'm grateful for them for in my phone or whatever that it is. And I think that, I don't know, I'd like it before I go to bed because it's like one of those things like right before you go to bed, you just let someone know like how special they are. So like when they're dreaming, they'll maybe have more access to dreams or they'll just feel more loved and appreciated. So those are some practices that I do. My clients have done and organizations I've, helped have done. And they've definitely seen massive changes in team building and they've seen massive changes in connection. And especially in the virtual world, even if it's someone who's not so great at tech, like I know my PhD program, I'm like the tech girl, but there's a couple people who are not so great at tech. And so, when they do, I'm always like, oh my God, I'm so grateful you figured it out, whatever. It's something small and it's not condescending. Maybe it came off that way, but it's like, I really am. And so just small things like that. I think if you can do that in any team or any organization, it really supports mental health and it really supports connection and community. And I think that's what we're all looking for right now.
And I love the idea of the gratitude huddles because now we get to have this exponential experience where it could be just one person having their their moment, right, of gratitude. But when you add others to it and bring in their input, their experience, their voice to that, you now can exponentially grow what that experience is. And now, if you think about it, it's kind of like dropping, for me, while you were saying this is the imagery I had, where you drop a pebble in a puddle of water, right? Especially if it's a big ocean or a big body of water, you get to see it reverberate over and over and over again. That one experience, you don't know if, and this is just how I think, you don't know if that one kind word saved someone from a terrible decision they were going to make. It could have stopped an argument that was going to happen at home. Why? And you think, what does that mean? Somebody's tense about work and they don't know how to handle it, so they take it home and take it out on their loved ones. But because of a kind word, they've been diffused, and now they have a chance to kind of deflate and bring that down a bit before they go home to their loved ones. Or it could be they were going to, it's just anything. Sometimes we don't handle trauma and stress well, and we go to what's familiar, even though it's toxic, but because it's familiar, people find comfort. But one kind word can have this impact that we may never know. Sometimes, and this is a great place to try this, guys, in traffic, right? When someone cuts you off, instead of cursing them to oblivion, what I try to do, Colleen, is say a prayer. Now, am I always effective? And is that always my first response? No. But because I'm making it a skill, what I try to do is pray, because I'm thinking only God knows what that person is about to encounter or what they just experienced. They don't, go ahead, take it from there.
I was gonna say, I think you're more making a habit than a skill. Give yourself more credit, because a skill is something that, like, I think we learn, like, a habit, it means that we have discipline to really change the way our neurons chemically react to, behaviors we go through. So, actually on my podcast, the Colleen Gallagher podcast, which I think I've seen, but David Meltzer has actually one of the people that really taught me a lot about these gratitude practices and brought me into that, because I think you see people at the very top, or people who have created a lot of success, and the people that actually sustainably create success are those who don't lose track of gratitude. And no one's ever perfect, right? Like you just shared, but you are having the intention to create a practice and a habit, which is more powerful than, not having an intention or a practice or anything to connect to. And, kind of, you think one day goes by, I won't do this, or 2 days or whatever, it becomes a lifetime where people don't go after their dreams, or people don't do what's really inside of them. And this gratitude factor is the biggest way I've seen relationships heal within organizations, outside of organizations. It's the biggest thing I've seen in miracles dropping in. Gratitude is one of those things that it's a deep feeling within you. It's not like a practical, I'm going to do this and get this output. It's not that step. So it seems like, well, why would I waste my time on that? There's no guarantee. But when you enter into the realm of magic, manifestation, miracles, quantum leaps, multiple six-figure businesses, millions of dollars, big organizations, when you're in that headspace of I have more money than I know what to do with, I need to spend this money to make a tax break, whatever that it is, when you have that, it's because you came from a place of gratitude, and that happens the more you do that.
So what I hear you say then too, gratitude attracts goodness. So for all of those who may be taking notes, that's a really good hashtag or a really good note to write down. Gratitude attracts goodness. So if you want more success, if you want more goodness in your life, start with gratitude. What are you thankful for right now? What's working right now? And I love the idea, going back to a previous comment you made about texting someone right before they go to sleep. What in the world does that unlock, right? For someone to go to bed thinking, wow, someone's thinking this of me. What goodwill, what goodness. And I saw you just kind of had this thing happen. So I'll go ahead and let you share that. What just happened there?
Yeah, I know. I love that you said the word unlock, because I was pondering that. It's funny though, because I never did that right, to unlock something in me. It wasn't like I'm doing this in the hopes of that. It was, kind of became inspired, I guess, because in a lot of ways, there were times when I felt really alone in the world and I felt like no one understood me. And I felt like I was just this little alien running around on earth. Like, to be honest, like I felt that. And like, I literally was like, I've traveled to over 40 countries and I've lived in 5 countries. Like, there's all these things that I've done. And I kind of learned, I guess, when I like felt alone, I always just felt the presence of something greater. And I would like feel different things or see things or hear things in my head, I guess. And I became grateful for whatever was present. And from that, like honestly feeling like there was other things around me that helped me see gratitude. I wanted that. I wanted to be that for someone else. And I think that's what inspired it. And I feel like everyone has those nudges. Like that was mine, but you already have nudges, you know, you can be doing. Like your thing is already there. And just like to take the action. And sometimes we think like, if I say I'm grateful or text this person or call them, like they're going to be like, this is so weird. Or why would you say that? And we have all these limiting beliefs basically. But honestly, like it's when you make it not about you and it's just about letting someone else know, it becomes a lot easier.
That's a great place to, okay, we're going to take this one more break. When we come back, I want you to really kind of encapsulate it all about how to live our best lives with gratitude. So hold on, we'll be right back. That was so good. That was so good.
Are you ready to break out and break through? Wait no longer. Charity Smith, known as Ms. Mogul, has created a breakthrough course and mastermind called the Mogul Method for multidimensional leaders wanting to harness their creative power and release their next big idea, transforming their performances, culture, and leadership. A highly sought-after media personality, business and transformative leader, Ms. Mogul enraptures her audience, taking them on a journey of personal and performance discovery with laughter, candor, a biting wit, and over 20 years of business acumen and leadership. Go to www.youcancreateyourown.economy.com now to awaken the mogul in you.
So Colleen, we're at the end of the segment and I figured this would happen. I think I said that to you before we started. I said, I have a feeling we're going to run right up to the clock.
Yep.
There's so much there in this topic for us to dive into. And I really, again, appreciate you being your hair is fine.
Thank you.
You being such a treasure trove. I'm grateful for your hair. It's great on camera.
Thank you.
You're good. But in all sincerity, I really do want you to now kind of put the bow around it and really anchor the thought of gratitude and mental health, right? We're going into the last quarter of the year, which is another reason why I'm excited to have this conversation. And so folks are thinking about year-end close and high performance people are getting stressed, maybe, you know, and sometimes there's good stress and bad stress, but there's stress nonetheless, right? Give us the importance of gratitude as we look at running to the finish line. And we all want to be champions in our own industry, in our craft, or whatever it is. And we want that next big thing to be the next big thing. What's the role of gratitude in that process? How do we obtain it? How do we leverage it? And how do we quantum leap forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing during the holidays is you have to remember it's such a sensitive time. And I think with everything everyone's just gone through this year, and I think the more you focus on other people and on what you can do to develop others, what you can do to, it's not even offer value. Like, I think even that can kind of be overplayed of like, I want to offer value. I want to help you. Like, it's not that. Like, it really is like, the more you can just be present when you're at the grocery store and someone's looking next to you, or, you know, you're at the coffee shop and, you know, this happens to me so many times. You're on the plane and you just stop what you're doing and you're present with that person. Like, the universe has put that person there. And the more you can open up and the more you can connect, I promise you that person is going to help your business in ways you never even dreamed of. And that's the part of like getting in flow almost. That's the part of the magic. That's the part of like, I'm going to trust my process of presence more than my strategy that's worked for X, Y, and Z person, because the system's already there. Wherever you're functioning, like you're already in a system that you know works, or you wouldn't be a high performance leader. Your key for these months is to be present with what's actually around you, And from that to create true, genuine, sustainable connections, because that, I promise you, will get you the massive business results that you never dreamed of.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow. We in the poetry space do this. When somebody drops the mic, that, yes. Love, 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 love that. Colleen, you are a gift, not just to me, but to the world.
Thank you.
To leaders, to humanity. Let me put it that way. Let's not put any limitation on it outside of humanity, right? You're a gift to humanity. Thank you so much for sharing your insight, your experiences, and giving us the skills necessary, the tools necessary to not only make the year end successful, but these really are life-changing, formative, what's the word I'm looking for? Foundational. That's the word I'm looking for. These are foundational skills that you've shared with our listeners today, literally, again, here and around the world. So may goodness and gratitude reverberate all the way back to you. Thank you for being my guest on the show. Thank all of you for joining me. I told you it was going to be good, y'all. I told you it was going to be good. Thank you all for joining me. Stay tuned. We'll have another interview, another installment on our ThankFULL series. All right, stay tuned. And bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Connect with us on our fan page on Facebook, Master Your Morning with Ms. Mogul, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mogul Life TV. And visit our website, youcancreateyourown economy.com and mommyscreatingeconomies.com.